Right. So we are here now, and we're going to talk about ship votes because this is a group that we have here on campus that pushes students to get out and to go vote.
Absolutely, and I think ship votes has been more important than ever because young voter turnout has been exponential this election. Young voters have really been turning out here for both candidates, and it's just been really impressive. And it's always great when schools like ours encourage students to go out and vote. And I know today that they were doing a lot to help students get to the polls and make sure that their voices are heard. And we actually now want to take it over to Megan Talley, who has more about ship votes and how it has really helped students here make their voices here in this election. Megan?
Ship Votes is a nonpartisan organization filled with students, faculty, and staff helping ship students register to vote and get to the polls. Shippensburg University has even been named a voter-friendly campus by Campus Vote Project and NASPA. In the past, Ship Votes has taken all of their efforts all over campus, including the Cub and home football games. But due to the pandemic, the group has taken most of its efforts online and even added a special campaign dedicated to student athletes. One Ship Votes is an idea sparked by the development of One Ship, an initiative responding to recent events in race and social justice. Through this campaign, 462 student athletes registered to vote for this election, and over 87% of student athletes are registered to vote, with 12 ship teams reaching 100%. Today, Ship Votes sponsored rides to the polls by using the on-campus CAT buses to get students to the town's voting place if they chose to vote in person. Sophomore Kristen Zellner and faculty volunteer David Monahan spoke with me about how they are going to keep these efforts going for upcoming local and state elections.
Hopefully, this will continue for the next Senate election, the midterm election, and for local elections as well. But I really think it's up to the departments to see how much they want to continue this and push it up.
I would personally like to see ship votes be an avenue through which, for example, in local elections, we invite local politicians to the campus to present their selves and their arguments to the students.
Some goals Ship Votes hope to achieve include getting a polling site on campus and to keep utilizing social media to emphasize how all elections are important, no matter how small. I'll have more from Ship Votes and many others in the upcoming documentary, SU Votes, the Election 2020, coming later this month to YouTube.
We're back here at for our election coverage, and now we're going to go back to Megan Talley, who was able to sit down with a political science professor here at Shippensburg, Allison Dagnes, and Megan's got more on that now. Megan.
The 2020 election has been one unlike any other. With the country being as divided as ever, as well as being in a global pandemic, there's a lot to uncover when it came time for Americans to hit the polls. Dr. Allison Dagnes spoke with me a few weeks ago about the election and how the United States got to this point and why our voices matter.
Because with that absence of trust and with all of the anger that is being fomented by the highest levels of our government and by the deep distrust of our government that's being assuaged by our government, that leaves a lot of room for people to lose faith and trust and become violent and become enraged and believe things that aren't necessarily true. And so this election actually is a little bit different. I think all elections are important to vote in because voting is it is a luxury that we have that a lot of people fought and died for. And so it's really important that everybody votes. But this year it's even more important because when our democratic system falls apart, you don't get an alert on Twitter that says democracy's over. It's a very slow burn, and you may not even notice it until it's gone. And I am authentically concerned that that's the direction in which we are moving.
Here in Pennsylvania, over 2 million people have cast their vote by mail, accounting for 73% of those that were requested. During the 2016 election, a little over 200,000 Pennsylvanians voted by mail. Dr. Dagnes explained that there should be nothing to worry about if you filled out a ballot from home.
Mail-in balloting is actually incredibly safe. There are tracers on these. So there was the case, I believe it was New Jersey, where, no, it was Virginia, it was Northern Virginia, where 1,000 citizens in Northern Virginia actually got 2 ballots. And the right just went, well, that's it, it's all fraudulent. And the answer is like, nope, actually, what the good news about mail-in balloting is that there's no way for people to vote twice. You could try, but then when you send 2 ballots in, you then therefore have committed a crime. And so you can't do that. And that's the great thing about mail-in voting. It is actually incredibly safe because it is traced. There are trackers on it.
This year, Governor Wolf made some changes by having the state pay for postage, as well as allow voters to get their ballots in before Friday instead of today. Locally, there have been some concerns over counting ballots. In both Cumberland and Franklin counties, it was announced that all mail-in ballots will be counted starting tomorrow instead of tonight due to the large number of ballots. And while that sparked outrage with county citizens, Governor Wolf and PA Secretary of State Kathy Boockvar, the 2 counties decided not to change, even though they were originally going to count on election night. So it may be a little while until we know who wins PA, but it sure is to be close. Reporting for SUTV News, I'm Megan Talley. Let's send it back to Adam and Jacob at the desk.
One housekeeping item that I did miss earlier on, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has won re-election for her seat in, I believe, the 14th district in New York. So she will get a second term in the House. We're now going to go over to Megan Talley, who's got more on the college Democrats and the college Republicans here at Shippensburg University. Megan.
This year saw a resurgence in SHIP's political outreach. After the college Republicans and college Democrats disbanded around 2018, students no longer had a place to talk with students of the same political opinion. But just this semester, the college Republicans were reborn, and the Democratic Socialists at Shippensburg University formed a new club designed for students who aren't quite aligned with just the 2-party system. Chase Slenker, treasurer for the college Republicans, wants students who identify with the right to feel comfortable with their beliefs.
The reason that college Republicans was created and brought back was to give students, who have a Republican or a conservative viewpoint on politics, that kind of have a place to share their voice and to know that they are not alone. Even though Shippensburg actually, if you look at the statistics, has a predominantly or slightly more Republican leaning majority among students, a lot of Republican students often feel as if they're not, actually, in that, academia is, against them. And I would say that that's really not true here on our campus. I think that our professors and faculty do a very good job at taking out any of their own bias, whether it's conservative or liberal leaning, but that in general the college Republicans was reinstated in order to advocate for Republican ideas, values, and candidates, but also to give a place for students to be able to express those views and kind of have a group behind them so they don't feel ashamed in expressing their own political views.
Zoe Williard and Ian Thompson also want to give students a place to belong, as well as open the floor for students who don't necessarily agree with the current Democratic Party.
So democratic socialism is what it sounds like. It's a form of socialism that's inherently democratic. It's all about advocating for a world where all of our lives or our lives are under our own control. It's not dictated by the whims of billionaires or corporations or plutocrats. Everyone, no matter their race, sexuality, age, ability, etc., has unalienable rights that must be respected and protected, and that isn't happening right now. So our goal is to work to make that a reality.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, it's a little bit more of, I'd say like an inclusive and representative group for people who don't just identify as like Democrat or Republican. I think it's definitely like a group for people who don't specifically fit the binary of like the red-blue party.
Both groups are hosting virtual meetings and are welcoming to any SHIP students. Students who are interested in joining either of these groups can log on to campus groups with their university logins and learn more about how to get involved. That'll be it for me tonight. Reporting for SUTV News, I'm Megan Talley, and let's send it back to Jacob and Adam at the desk.